Your Houston Morning News with Matt Patrick continues.
KTRH News Time is 7:47, and there is a loophole in our tax law that allows illegals to actually get tax credits for their kids. Joining me right now is Marshall Fitz with the Center for American Progress and William Geen with ALIPAC. Gentlemen, welcome to Houston's Morning News. Thank you both for taking the time, getting up early this morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me.
Marshall, let me start with you. I would assume that if we eliminate this tax credit for illegals' children, this would probably twist you up an awful lot. You think we should keep it in, huh?
Well, the child tax credit was created in 1998, and it was created specifically in order to ensure that kids, American kids, are not falling into poverty. This is unlike any other tax credit, which, while of course it does go to the tax filer directly, the very explicit stated purpose of this is for kids. And, you know, we're talking about kids who are living at or near the poverty line, and $1,800 a year for a family that is living kind of on that margin is the difference between rent or eviction. And I don't think that any American, in today's economy can really use or can really suffer an $1,800 tax increase.
Let me get to William Geen here. William, now you would think differently. This is $10 billion that we can save. If they're illegal, I think they should be sent back with the kids. What say you?
Well, I think he said Americans 2 times, and I agree. The law was for Americans. These are not Americans. These are illegal aliens, and they are Mexicans, Guatemalans, Chinese citizens, citizens of India. These are citizens of another nation that have broken a series of laws to be here that are then, putting their hands on this tax resource. The Americans are losing over $115 billion on the federal level alone to illegal immigration and illegal aliens taking taxpayer resources each year. And that's more than the entire damages of Hurricane Katrina. This bill only takes back or helps stop the bleeding on just a little portion of that. But at this point, any type of legislation that would stop the grand theft nation that's going on with these illegal immigrants taking so much, we would support it.
All right. I'll give Marshall an opportunity to respond to that in just a second.
More Houston Morning News with Matt Patrick now.
KTRH News Time is 7:52. Marshall Fitz, William Geen joining us here this morning. Marshall's with the Center for American Progress, William with ALIPAC. We're talking about the credits, child tax credits that illegal immigrants are given for their kids. Marshall, William said something interesting. I want to give you a chance to respond. He said the law was designed for American children. I would agree. These illegals have come into this country. They have committed a felony. Why should we give them a tax credit?
First of all, these are hardworking families who are contributing, not stealing, as William.
Marshall, they've come into this country illegally. They are in this country illegally. That's a felony.
No, it's actually not a felony. So we can debate that issue, but I thought the conversation today was about the child tax credit, which goes to U.S. citizen kids. That's what we're talking about, is taking money off of the table that will keep U.S. citizen kids from falling into poverty. And I don't know any American, true-blooded American, who thinks that that's a good idea given the precarious state of our economy today.
William, would you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I would respond that I would think that most Americans would be in agreement with removing the access to this type of funding by illegal aliens, and that's consistent, with 67% of Americans oppose all forms of welfare for illegal immigrants. 77% of Americans oppose licenses for illegal immigrants. 81% of Americans oppose in-state tuition for illegal immigrants. These are not cold-hearted people. These are American citizens that realize that the federal government is broke. Most of our state governments are broke. Most of our families have lost more wealth in the last 3 years than any time before since the Great Depression in American history.
Gentlemen, I've got to wrap it up, and I thank you both, and I appreciate both of your time here this morning, and I promise that I will have you both back as we continue to keep an eye on this and see how far that bill actually gets in Washington.